field for Republicans looking to get the nomination for Illinois governor grows as Ted Dabrowski tosses his hat in the ring. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. You can wake up with us each and every weekday morning for more. You can see the headlines at thecentersquare.com. GOP candidate Dabrowski enters fray to challenge Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. And Dabrowski made that announcement Friday outside of his home in Winnetka. And the gubernatorial candidates going into a field with others. There's polling data that a pollster released showing a list of names. Some have not announced yet, but I think a big takeaway is this early on in the March primary, 55% of people don't know who they're going to support. So let's get into this. Ted Dabrowski on Friday sharing why he is going to be a candidate for governor here in the state of Illinois.
All right, good morning. When I chose to move on from my banking career 18 years ago and devote myself to public policy research in Illinois, I never thought it would lead me to this day. At the outset, I explicitly wanted to stay away from partisan politics and focus on presenting the facts and the arguments for policies that would do the most good for the most people. I thought if I made the most persuasive case, I would persuade the most people. That was a bit naive. I didn't appreciate just how much inertia was behind Illinois' bipartisan combine, as John Cass calls it. Well, after 15 years, I appreciate it now. What I learned over that time is that without a willingness to put in the fight, the political fight, the best ideas can be buried before they ever see light. If you want to improve conditions in Illinois, you have to understand that you'll be challenged by powerful interests who benefit from the way things are, which is, of course, why things are the way they are. I also learned that there are many people who only seek the appearance of change for the purpose of protecting the way things are. Today, I can spot those faux reformers right away. I had hoped that there would be others who saw what I saw and believed what I believed. Those who would successfully navigate the political system to lead Illinois back. Clearly, that has not happened. My time at the Illinois Policy Institute and WirePoints was amazing. I enjoyed putting in the work to learn the nuances of complicated policies like property taxes and pensions and healthcare and higher education. I gained great insights about how things work and why they don't. I've enjoyed traveling around the state to meet people fighting the policy battles where they live, because poring over the data isn't enough. You have to get out and get to know the people to see what's really happening, to appreciate both the successes to replicate and the failures to avoid. Let me give you an example of what I mean about finding success stories. There are 2 school districts in downstate Illinois, about 40 miles from East St. Louis, that prove you don't need gobs of money to teach kids how to read and do math. These districts are Aviston and Bartelso. In 2019, before the pandemic, 85% of their students could read at grade level. They had the highest reading levels in the state, higher even than places around here like New Trier and Deerfield. And here's the amazing thing. Aviston and Bartelso only spent $8,000 a year in 2019, the very lowest in the state. So I traveled down there to ask the teachers, the administrators, the parents, how they accomplished such a feat with such little money. And what I found was a culture of high expectations, parental engagement, a community of faith. And the people there said, we are competitive, we like to win. And you could feel it in the schools and the staff and the students. If we can find a way to harness even a fraction of that energy that they have in Aviston and Bartelso, we would transform education in Illinois. But whether it's improving reading scores or reducing property taxes or making college more affordable, just because you know what to do doesn't mean you get to do it. I am someone who has never been content about being right without making sure it's done right. That's why today I am announcing my candidacy for governor of Illinois.
So again, Ted Dabrowski there. You can watch that entire campaign announcement video at thecentersquare.com and take that in for what it's worth for you as we work through the March primary, because we still got months ahead. I mean, the candidates haven't even officially began filing their nominating petition forms, right? They've got that starts at the I believe tail end of October, and they've got a week to file those into the early part of November, and then after that a week's worth of objections that the Illinois State Board of Elections is going to have to hash through. So we've heard DuPage County Sheriff Jim Mendrick mention. I mean, he announced way back in April, I believe. And you've got some other names that are out there that were thinking about announcing or are in the process of announcing, but Dabrowski being one of those as well, who was considered to be a candidate and went to the Illinois State Fair, and we had talked to him then, and he just simply said he's going to make his decision at some point. Last week, we looked at some of the campaign financing, and Mendrick had $100,000 cash in hand, but Dabrowski had over $1 million cash on hand. So again, these are just some of the names you're going to hear. But there is a poll that came out recently that seems to indicate where we're at right now. And this is coming from the Illinois statewide survey. And we'll pull this up so you can read for this yourself. From this research group, it says of Illinois likely election voters, you've got how many were surveyed? Over 1,000 respondents were randomly selected from a comprehensive list of registered voters. Results underwent a rigorous weighting process to align the sample with the expected demographic composition. You've got more about the polling data and more about those who conducted the poll, so you can read through that. But here's just some of the outcome of this poll. State direction. Illinois voters remain pessimistic about the future of the state. Nearly half say Illinois is on the wrong track, while fewer than 4 in 10 believe the state's moving in the right direction. So you can see that wrong direction is nearly half, with the right direction only about 39%, with 12% being unsure of the direction of the state of Illinois. So what about the candidates? Again, Darren Bailey leading 31%. He hasn't announced yet officially. I haven't seen. So 31%. I guess the next one, Jim Mendrick, 5%. And he's again announced that he's running back in April. And Ted Dabrowski just now announcing at 3% in the polling data. This is pretty early, way preliminary. Again, we have not seen the candidates actually file their nominating petitions yet, so we've still got that entire process to play out. So we'll know who the candidates are by mid-November to then ramp up for the March 17th primary. So you've got Darren Bailey, the former Republican candidate for governor, a former state senator, and a former state representative. He ran in 2022 in a pretty heated primary, and then went up against Governor J.B. Pritzker and lost. But since Darren Bailey obviously has that name recognition, being the former Republican candidate for Illinois governor, looks like that translates to him sitting pretty well at 31% in this preliminary polling. But then you've got Ted Dabrowski at 3%, and we'll see how this polling data changes as we go through the March primary. So other research that they have, head-to-head matchups, they also looked at with this polling data. You've got Darren Bailey versus Mendrick, 35% to 9%, while 50% are unsure. And I think that is also something that we have to highlight here in the overall, Republican primary ballot test. 55% are unsure at this time. And quite frankly, I don't blame them because we're still so early in all of this. But when it's a head-to-head matchup, Bailey versus Mendrick, Bailey takes that. When it's a head-to-head matchup between Dabrowski and Bailey, you've got Bailey leading that, but Mendrick taking 9%, Dabrowski taking 7%. But again, 51% are unsure. And then you've got the different demographic data of all of those who took part in the poll. So we're just getting started with this. The primary process just getting underway. Of course, Governor J.B. Pritzker a couple of months ago announced that he's running for re-election for a third term, but it's going to be a different ticket. It's going to be not Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton running with Pritzker for a third term. She's running for U.S. Senate to take Senator Dick Durbin's seat, who's retiring after the end of this term, so there's a primary there for U.S. Senate. Obviously, Republicans lining up as well with Don Tracy announcing that he's running for U.S. Senate as a Republican. And that's another race that we're going to have to watch. But Governor J.B. Pritzker looking for that third term, tapping Christian Mitchell to be his lieutenant governor for that race. So a lot more to come on all of this. Hopefully you stay with us and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here for Illinois in Focus Daily. And we'll keep you updated on the latest on the political landscape as we head into the March primary. But obviously there's going to be plenty of other stuff for us to continue to cover with Illinois government. And keep in mind, we've got a veto session coming up in October. So that's something you're going to want to make sure you stick around, and we'll preview a lot of what to expect, and well, we could possibly see some tax increases as well. So all of that's going to play into the ongoing coverage here with Illinois in Focus Daily at thecentersquare.com, and here each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily.